No safe harbor in Seattle. The Rays face their fiercest foe in this road trip.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Rays podcast. Locked On Rays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and we are Kevin and Ulysses.
And we are lifelong Rays fans who have been podcasting about these Rays since 2019.
On today's show, the Rays will look to continue their two-game winning streak against the playoff contending Seattle Mariners. In a few minutes, we'll discuss why the Rays lineup just isn't the same without Randy Arozarena. But let's begin with the upcoming series pitching matchups and that Seattle offense that is quite enviable.
But first, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase.
Well, the Rays will need all the help they can get. Luckily, they have some upward momentum with what they did against the Angels, but I don't think there's any question that the Mariners are through and through a better team than the Angels. As of this recording, the Mariners are 61-53, and that means that equates to, according to Fangraphs, a 71% chance to make the postseason. Moreover, the Mariners are 32-25 at home, and they have 31 comeback wins. The pitching matchups, it always seems to befuddle me how whenever we try to look ahead at a series, the other team doesn't have their starters or their probable. So at least we know for the Rays that Drew Rasmussen is pitching, that Joe Boyle is pitching, and Adrian Hauser is pitching. So we at least got two shots at the apple there with Rasmussen and Boyle. And to me, at this point, Hauser is a bit of a question mark based on what he did in his first start in a Rays uniform. I believe we'll see Luis Castillo for the Mariners, but beyond that, I'm really not sure.
That Friday matchup, Rasmussen against Castillo, is going to be must-watch TV. Yeah. I mean, if you like baseball, I mean, those two guys have been fantastic in their careers. I mean, Luis Castillo, for a guy that gets traded with so much fanfare and then gets signed to an extension, he has been living up to expectations with his performances. So he's going to be a tough customer. But if the Rays are able to scratch out that win on Friday against Luis Castillo behind Drew Rasmussen, if you win that Friday game, you have a really good chance to take a series from one of the league's best offenses.
Yes, and I think if the Rays win the series, they would be back up to 500. So that's at least a benchmark that we're fighting for, because we've been under that 500 mark for a little bit now. And if you can, show some gumption against the Mariners, that's a good sign. But it's going to be tough because the Mariners are a team, Ulysses, I know we've debated, were the Rays buyers? Were the Rays sellers? Were they in-betweeners? Did they do a little bit of both? We know it wasn't the fire sale of last year. The Mariners did the thing and actually acquired some names. They went out and got what they needed to. They got the lefty Caleb Ferguson as a reliever. They also enhanced their offense significantly by getting Venezuelan bump in Ulysses' book, Eugenio Suarez, who has more home runs than Junior Caminero this year, 37 if you were counting it at home, plus Josh Naylor, who is just an all-around solid bat. He's, I don't know, call him a poor man's Jonathan Aranda, but he's a solid hitter through and through. But the Mariners, even before adding Suarez to the equation and Naylor to the equation, they were still one of the biggest boppers in baseball, thanks to, what's it, the Big Dumpster? What's his nickname?
Yeah, big Dumper is
not the Big Dumpster, but the Big Dumper. There we go. I messed it up. I screwed it up. But Cal Riley, who has 42 home runs, Randy Arozarena, former Ray, who we'll talk about and reminisce about in the next segment, 22. J-Rod has 20. Polanco is 18. They got a bunch of guys smattering with 9 and 7. But if you look up and down the lineup at full health, plus all the acquisitions, It's pretty stacked for the most part, top to bottom. Like 1 through 7, 1 through 8, it's a tough deal and a tough time. And Jerry DePoto, who is the general manager for the Mariners, we know he loves to make trades. And this was an opportunity. Hey, we're in the driver's seat, or we have a chance to really do something and make the playoffs. They made that extra effort to give themselves a push. And I got to give them a little bit of credit for doing that. Like it's fun to see teams go out and not just say, oh, well, we're not the Yankees, we're not the Dodgers. We can't do this thing. Let's at least, throw something out there and see what we can do, even if we have to give up a top ranked prospect or two. And that's what they did. But it hurts if you're a Rays fan because you're facing a boosted, bolstered Mariners team on the road.
And it's a team that, with their stadium, you've never really compared them to great offenses in the past, right? It's really tough to hit well. I was going to say Safeco, but in T-Mobile Park, it's really tough. And, you look up and down that lineup and you're seeing 42 home runs, 22 home runs, 20 home runs, 18 home runs, 37 home runs. I mean, the top three there with 42, 37, and 22, you compare that with the top three of the Rays, and it's like 30, 20, 20. Yeah. There's a difference there. So it's a juggernaut of an offense that they're going to be facing. And when you have really good pitching like the Seattle Mariners have and that young rotation, man, it makes it very complicated. So that's why that Friday night game, if you're able to chip away against Luis Castillo, and I understand they've been red hot at home, but you chip away that Friday night game, then you have a chance to do something against a team that is not only ahead of you in the standings, but I think a lot of people would not be surprised if the Seattle Mariners end up going on a long playoff run.
Yeah. And think about it this way. We have Junior Caminero. They have like 2.5 between Cal Riley and Eugenio Suarez, and, throw in J-Rod or Ray Randy or whoever it may be. So it is going to be a tough test. And that's where I am wondering and hoping that even with the Rays' improved bullpen of late, that Drew Rasmussen can go deep, Joe Boyle can go deep, and maybe keep that bullpen a little bit rested just in case you have to pull the hook on Hauser sooner rather than later. So that's going to be something to watch, is like, hey, if Joe Boyle has 4 scoreless innings in 60 pitches, are you going to be able to roll him out for a 5th or 6th? Or are they going to do the cautious thing and say, hey, we're just protecting his arm for the future?
Which fine, but then it's like, well, this is a long road trip, and I understand that you have a couple of more off days where you can really unload your bullpen, but if you start doing that on the first day of the series, we all know baseball, by the time that you're closing out that series, hitters talk, they're going to see them once, twice, they understand where the ball is coming from, the tunneling, and then it gets a little bit more difficult for that bullpen to get the outs that they need to get.
Yeah. Hot take. And I know people hate this. I know they admonish me for saying this and putting this out in the ether. Okay.
Don't you dare.
I like the Rays' chances. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a clunker somewhere in this series where the Mariners hit like 5 dingers and maybe they can recover after that. I see a crooked number in one of these games. I'll leave it like that.
I hope that the crooked number is on the Rays side. And you know what? Maybe a crooked number is the one that the Rays ended up feeling when Randy Arozarena was traded from the Rays last year in that fire sale, which we got to talk about that right now. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends and family? I know Kevin and I have literally less than a week. We went to see the Dodgers, and maybe it's you who needs to do this, maybe against St. Louis, maybe against the Yankees. The Rays are in a long West Coast road trip, but when they get back, you can do that by using Game Time. Game Time makes it possible for you to save money on the tickets so you can spend the rest on the food, drinks, and merch at the big time. And remember, Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB. And the seat views right in the app before you buy, and you know exactly where you will be. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Thank you for listening to the Locked On Rays podcast. We are, of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Yes, let's focus on one Randy Arozarena, who may or may not have been the franchise player or the face of the franchise for the Rays for a period of time there before he got traded to the Mariners, of course. And just going back a little bit, during that fire sale of 2024, the Rays traded Randy to the Mariners and in return got Aiden Smith and Brody Hopkins. Brody Hopkins, a friend of the program, is killing it in the minor leagues. Aiden Smith not doing so hot after I believe he was promoted from low A to high A. But one guy who is doing hot, and let me just put this out. I'm not ready to judge the Randy trade until we see what happens with Aiden Smith and Brody Hopkins. Maybe they become major leaguers. Maybe they become mainstays. Maybe one of them becomes an all-star. Right now, it's not looking so hot. It's still early. You got to let these things marinate and play out. But I will tell you that I am envious of the production that Randy is putting forth this season in a Mariners uniform and wish we had that type of production on this team, especially with all the injuries that have transpired over the course of the 2025 season. In fact, Randy is basically having a career year at 30 years old. He's already generated 4.1 WAR, has 22 homers, 21 stolen bases, 138 OPS plus, 825 OPS, 351 batting average, 473 slug. Got a lot of hits, got a lot of RBIs, got a lot of runs scored. And I was looking at Randy and I was thinking, man, when he was with the Rays, he had a lot of 2020 seasons. And I was correct. He did. As he has now notched his 5th straight 2020 season, which is pretty rare. There's not many who have done 5 or 6 or 7. It's a pretty short list if you look at it that way. And he's still going. I mean, he could be a 25 guy this year or 27 guy this year. But what really kind of has me thinking about Randy is not the 2020 and all the entertainment and excitement that he provided in a Rays uniform and then now in a Mariners uniform. It's the durability factor. And that's how you get to a point where you can be a 2020 player. It's the durability and consistency in the final line. Like at the end of the year, you know what you're going to get from Randy. And it's between 140 to 150 games, more so on the 150 game end of things. And he's going to put up a line that is pretty status quo for every year that he's done.
And I know that some Rays fans have this fascination towards, it seems to me, they'd like to root more for the front office than players sometimes. So when Randy was traded last year, I saw a lot of, yeah, he's washed. We didn't need him anymore. He's always been overrated anyway. And all these coping tweets that I was just like, oh boy, these people don't know about baseball. Like, thank you for putting out that. You want to give the list of people that have 7 or more 2020 seasons so that people can understand
So
what
by
Randy
the way,
is actually doing right now?
Yeah. So Randy has 5, and it's very well within range that he can have 6 or 7. And I don't even think these players are all consecutive necessarily, but Randy has done it 5 straight years in a row.
Yeah.
But the guys with 7 2020 seasons, Carlos Beltran, Eric Davis, Jose Ramirez, 9, Bobby Abreu, who should have more Hall of Fame votes. And then the guys who have 10 apiece. The Bonds family, Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonds.
Pretty good list. All those players are tremendous. And I know you can make any type of narrative with whatever numbers you are. That's baseball. You can do that. But I feel like we can't. You're right. We can't fully judge the Randy trade just yet. But his production this year is definitely enviable.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about not only speed, but you're talking not horrible defense, and the fact that the power is always there too. I mean, you talk about 22 home runs in that park. I mean, I know he's not doing the 22 in Seattle, but it's still a big portion of where he's going to be playing, and he's still doing it. I miss Randy. I will always root for Randy. I will always hope for good things about Randy. The issue that we know, that with him and Yandy, or the wives of Yandy and Randy, it's a shame. It's a shame because maybe if you take that human portion of the equation out, maybe that Randy trade never really happens. But I agree with you. You can't fully judge the trade, but you can surely miss his production.
Right. And so far, again, we haven't seen Smith or Hopkins in a Rays uniform. And you wish that with some of these trades, these guys would be, at the AAA level and more ready to contribute. So we're not going to know until years down the line. But odds are that Randy's career WAR will probably be higher than Smith and Hopkins combined. I'm willing to go out on a limb for that. Randy will, one player that is established, that is a multiple-time All-Star, that did unspeakable things in the 2020 World Series, that is a Rookie of the Year, that had his own section in the outfield called Randy Land. I honestly think, beyond the Randy and Yandy feud, I almost got the vibe or the impression that Randy's persona had almost like outgrown the Rays. Like he was too big for the Rays, if that makes sense.
Honestly, I feel the exact same way. I feel that not only in the Classic, but the 2020 World Series run, and the 2021, he has a home run and then he steals home.
Yeah.
He's sometimes some guys just evolve over their environment, and I think he did. And you talk about, those people that oh, I don't miss him or whatever, bro. You wouldn't have Race Nation does not have a lot of tremendous great runs in them. The 2020 was one of them, and we don't get there. We all don't have that collective happiness moment without Randy Arozarena. So I do think that the fans that were rooting for the front office last year with that trade are misguided, and I hope that they have some time to think it over. Because I don't think that's I don't think that's why you got into sports, is to root for front offices. You root for other players. That's why you're a fan.
You don't root for quarter zips and suits. Let's root for uniforms.
Yes,
on the field, if you will. And the crazy thing too is that Randy's having a career year, and I still think he has a year before free agency, so he's not even in a contract year yet. So he keeps this up, and he might be getting that. I don't want to say mega deal, but a good chunk of change, if you will. And just to read a quote, because the Mariners are clearly pleased by his production this year, from manager Dan Wilson. What he's done at the plate, especially lately, has been outstanding. Using the whole field, driving the ball for power. We see him hit the ball on a line. We see him take his walks. He has really done a great job here. And, the Mariners are rewarding the players on their roster. We saw extensions with Julio Rodriguez. We saw extensions with Cal Riley. We've seen extensions with other players. So they seem to be doing it right at this juncture. And we'll see what happens and what Randy does in this series as well. All right. We have baseball trivia, Name That War, coming up. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason, it's already heating up, and college football isn't far behind, if you didn't know already. And that means it's the perfect time to lock in your season-long more or less picks for the 2025 football season, all before week 1 kicks off. I've used Prize Picks now for a few seasons, and what I love is how simple it is. In fact, I can get a lineup in before my coffee finishes brewing. That's minutes, just a few minutes, and I can get it done. It's as easy as that. So go ahead, join me, and download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, run your game. All right. First off, thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen every day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And it is a fun Friday episode, which means it's time for baseball trivia and Name That War. Ulises, my trivia question is in regards to the Seattle Mariners. We talked a lot about home runs and the power they provide. And I have in front of me a list of the all-time home run leaders in a Mariners uniform. I have the top 10 list. I want 5 names, and I want them now.
Let's go with Ken Griffey Jr.
Numero uno with 417.
Let's go with Edgar Martinez.
Number 2 with 309.
Let's go with I apologize if I mispronounced his last name. Jay Buhner.
Jay Buhner is correct. He is number 3 on this list. Are you cheating right now? He has 307.
No. I showed my hands on YouTube if you guys didn't see. Okay.
Griffey, Martinez, Buhner.
4, number 5. Has to be guys that have been there a long, long time. Okay, well, Ichiro was there for a long time, but he had no power. Let's try it, though, anyway. Ichiro.
Strike 1.
Okay. Long-time Mariners. Oh, Seager.
Which Seager?
Kyle.
Kyle Seager is number 4 on this list. This might be a record of you naming the first 4 in sequential order. He has 242.
Oh, gosh. Now I want to get fancy and go like Richie Sexton or something like that. Branyan.
You don't have to get that fancy.
No, okay. Not that fancy, he says. Who was a good power bat for the Mariners? Carlos Guillen.
Strike 2.
It's staring me in the face, isn't it?
There's a couple names staring you in the face. And it's not Ichiro or Carlos Guillen.
I win dark horses there.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on. I got this. Oh, this is a good bleeping question, man. Who is staring me in the face? And right now, the background music of Night Driving is not making me think. Think. It can't be Cal Raleigh, right? I mean, 42 Jacks does help you, though. And he's been there a bit of time. He probably has over 100 home runs with them. Does that make the list? JP Crawford has been there for a while, but he's got no pop. Julio Rodriguez, not enough time.
Need a name. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Cal Raleigh.
1. Cal Riley, number 10 on this list with 135. But you're going to be disappointed because number 5 on this list was Alex Rodriguez. Number 6 on this list was Tampa Bay Rays great Nelson Cruz. 7, Alvin Davis. 8, Raul Ibanez. And 9, Brett Boone.
Guess what? I'm disappointed, but still got the points, baby.
Yes. Congratulations.
Ooh, well, that was fun. Do we have time for Name That War?
quick. I'll shoot it from the hip.
Okay, well, name that war is when we take a player from the past and we try to guess their career war according to Baseball Reference. Today's player from the past is Jamie Moyer.
Jamie Moyer, who played till he was like 87.
Yes.
Real talk. I think he played till he was 49. Definitely played with the Mariners and the Phillies and maybe another couple other teams. I think all that time in the majors, had to rack up some numbers. Might have been a 1 or 2 time All-Star. I'm looking at like a 4.2 career ERA and I don't know, 150, 160 wins, something to that effect. I could be way off. My guess, even though he played like 25 years across, I'm guessing 3 decades, give or take, his career WAR, according to Baseball Reference, is 22.
25 years. You undersold this man. 269 victories, a 4.25 ERA, 4,074 innings, 2,441 strikeouts, and a career WAR of 49.8. Basically, he was a 2 WAR guy per season. And yes, folks, he pitched until he was 49. And he made his debut in 1986 at 23 years old with the Cubs, retired with the Rockies in 2012.
And just a 1-time All-Star.
Yep.
Hot take. I think like the Veterans Committee should put him in the Hall of Fame at some point.
It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. Like, throw WAR all out the window. Like him and who is it? James Franco that played, in their late 30s.
Julio Franco.
Julio Franco. Like it's just an amazing feat. So kudos to Jamie Moyer on that one. In the meantime, hope you all enjoyed and appreciated the episode. We're trying for you to bring you Rays content every single day. Meantime, we do want to tell you that for your second listen, check out the Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long local analysis brought to you on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on the YouTubes or wherever you listen to those podcasts.